Hey guys, welcome back to Legit Street Cars and welcome to the final Alpina B7 video before it gets listed no reserve at modsandmiles.com. So by the time you're seeing this video, the car is either live right now or it's already sold, but either way you can click on the link down below and bid on the car or see how much it's sold for. And while you're there, don't forget to enter to win my C63 AMG. It is totally free to enter. There's nothing you can buy. It's free. So do it now. Now, even though this is the final video on the Alpina B7, we have a ton of awesome content coming to you soon. We have the twin turbo Mustang, the DSM Eclipse, the Turbo Trans Am, and a bunch of cars that we haven't even revealed yet that you guys are gonna love. But we also finish cars here at Legit Street Cars. We just don't talk about them, we get them done. So we have recently finished the white E30 BMW. We've finished the green E39 BMW. We've finished and sold the Rolls Royce. We finished the 335i. It sold on modsandmiles.com for $22,000. And we even finished the Lightning, which is now on a national tour. So if you enjoy an automotive YouTube channel that actually finishes what it starts, then consider subscribing to the channel. We're going for 1 million followers. We're almost there. You guys can help make it happen. So just take 1 second, hit the subscribe button, and with that, let's get right to work on the Alpina. So we have a ton of used and budget-friendly parts that we're going to be installing on the Alpina. This is going to be one of those start-to-finish videos, so you're going to see this thing completed today. So the interior needs a massive detail. The back glass is busted out. We have to do a new sunshade. Then we have a glass company coming out. We also have a new tire to install. But first things first, we had this thing ripping in the first video. It had some bad fuel, so it was misfiring, but after we put some heat and some new fuel in the tank, it would do burnouts for days, and it was awesome. But unfortunately, we've put about 100 miles on the Alpina since then, and now it's back. Listen to this. It is running very bad. Shaking and misfiring, you can see here. Even the trunk is shaking on this guy. And we have a warning in the cluster, a check engine light. There we go. And we have a drivetrain malfunction, drive moderately, maximum drivetrain output not available. And it is running bad. It feels just like it was when we first got it running on about 4 cylinders. Yeah, you can see this guy shaking back and forth, and the engine mounts are in really good shape too. So we got to figure this out. All right, so we got 5 faults going on here in the DME. That's the engine's computer. Read codes. All right, cylinder 4, misfire. That's a bad one. Fuel tank low, we had that before. Alternator temperature, power management, turbocharger coolant pump. You know, a lot of times with BMWs, I mean, they literally get shipped brand new with like 50 codes in the computer. Some of these you can blow out. This is very interesting because our fuel level is pretty low. It's not totally empty, but that's about where it was when we got this car and it was misfiring like this. And I am starting to think maybe there's some water at the bottom of the tank. And once it gets to a certain point, it's basically just switching over and running partially on water and not running well, obviously. All right, first things first, I want to take a fuel sample and I want to see the fuel that's getting to the engine. So we're going to disconnect the feed and the return and see what we got going on here. I gotta say, it does just smell like regular fuel. I'm not smelling anything out of the ordinary. It doesn't look bad. All right, we're just gonna take a little sample here because even though it smells okay, it still could have water in it because water is really not gonna smell like anything. So we're just gonna smell the gasoline. And luckily water and gas separate pretty easily. So this jar was completely clean. We just washed it out. Some delicious kosher dill pickles. But even in this tiny little sample, we can see water right there at the bottom. That is not good. There's also looks a little dirty in there. All right, so we can activate the fuel pump with the computer. So I have the main feed line that would normally go to the rail eventually on the car in our cleaned out bottle here. So go ahead, Peter, do some activation. There we go. And it'll do this for 20 seconds. So we could actually drain what's left in the tank just by doing this and not disconnecting any hoses. We're trying to siphon and all that madness. Let's go again, hit it again. This actually won't take that long at all. This is just 2 activations right here, and we might get a half gallon out of 2 activations, something like that, even more. This is great. So easy. Here is activation number 3. Uh-oh. Okay, perfect. No more, no more. All right, so this is our 3rd gallon, potentially our final gallon. Go ahead, Peter. Not seeing a lot of water anymore, so I'm not really sure if that's it, but I want to get to the very last drop in this fuel tank to see what's going on. we're already all set up. It just took a few minutes anyway, so we might as well eliminate this. But yeah, here's a sample from one of the gallons that I poured out. We don't have any separation there. And then we're just putting it all right into this bigger fuel tank. We'll drain all the fuel out. If there's no water, we'll just move on to the next step in diagnosis. But I've had many cars with bad fuel cause issues like this. Typically, they set a misfire code for almost every cylinder, so this is a little bit different. It's a good thing to eliminate, especially in a car that's been sitting at the auction for about 3 years, so you know the fuel was old. All right, Peter, whenever you're ready. So this might be our last one, our last gallon, I would imagine. I don't think they give you 2 gallons almost a reserve. Are you activated? Okay, yeah, this is it then. We are dry, no more fuel. So I just clipped all the lines back in, and I think the little amount of debris that we have at the bottom here of the first jar was just because the fuel line kind of just splashed everywhere and it's really dirty in here. So I think it just picked up a bunch of the dirt from the surrounding areas on the line and put it in here, because we took out about 3 more gallons of fuel and it was perfectly clean, no water or anything. So it might have had a little bit of water in the beginning, but yeah, I don't think this is anything to worry about. I've taken a ton of fuel samples before, and sometimes there's just a little bit of condensation in the tank, especially in a car that's been sitting around forever like this one. So I think that's all we have. Fuel system seems to be okay. All right, so since we've eliminated a fuel issue, we are gonna go for ignition coils, which is all too common on BMWs of pretty much any year. You could have bad ignition coils. And luckily, we're just getting that cylinder 4 misfire, which is kind of nice. When you get the random misfire codes, it gets a little bit more complicated. That's really when it can be fuel, is when it's throwing a code for a lot of them. So this looks like a nightmare to work on, but I think doing ignition coils isn't too bad. We just gotta pop this intake box off. Oh yeah, look at that. So this is a hot V engine, so you have both turbochargers right here. Lots of shielding is needed because there's a ton of heat right here. So this is our cylinder 4 coil, and we're just gonna swap it with the one right next to it. And these coils aren't even held in with any fasteners. They literally just pull right out. And these are the same coils for many different BMWs. So it's not like you get like a better coil because you have the 750 Li Alpina. But another very easy method of diagnosis here. So we could potentially eliminate the ignition system and the fuel in all of about maybe 20 minutes worth of work, something like that. And if you don't have a scanner to activate the fuel pump, you can just have a friend hit the ignition a few times. It was nice that we were really low on fuel. That could take a very long time if you have a full tank, but all right, we have swapped coils. Now we'll just throw the intake back on. All right, we'll just plug this in. We don't have to finish the install completely. Let's see if it fixes it. All right, it would help if we put all of our fuel back in. I just gotta purge some of that fuel. It's definitely still got the misfire. Oh yeah, there's a little shake. I'm surprised it's only misfiring on one cylinder that it would run this poorly.
Cylinder 3 misfire.
Okay, there we go. It moved to cylinder 3. You know what, let's blow these all out and let's just double check that cylinder 3 is the only one that really comes back. Cylinder 3. And then this whole misfire fuel fill level low. Not exactly sure what's going on with that. It is low on fuel, but that shouldn't obviously cause it to misfire. But anyway, right now we know for sure that we have a bad coil because it has moved to cylinder 3. All right guys, $47.40 later. We have a blue streak coil. Not gonna lie, I've never heard of this, but it's made by Standard. And I've heard of Standard. They probably brand a bunch of different things with cool names like Blue Streak. And here is our ignition coil. Looks nice and shiny. I wish they kind of at least put a blue streak somewhere on here. I think that would be very fashionable, but they did not. Okay. It might have matched the Alpina. Okay, so now we've switched the 4 coil to there. So this is our bad coil right now. So let's get rid of it. Peace out, bad coil. Let's see, any date codes on this bad boy? So yeah, 2010, so March 2nd, 2010. I think it goes around the other way. So yeah, this is the original coil on here. So it had a very good run, actually. Wouldn't be a bad idea to replace all of these coils, but they don't have a full set in stock. And I might be able to get a better deal online on these. But anyway, let's just see if that fixes it. Oh yeah. That feels good. How's it feel in there? It's smooth, right?
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Smooth like butter?
Like butter.
Like butter. All right, let's check some codes. Hey, throw it into drive real quick. So just idle down. In gear, you'll really be able to tell if it shakes. Oh yeah, no, it's not shaking at all. We're good. $47.40. Do you know what this would have cost at the dealership? I mean, you bring it in with a check engine light, it's automatically about a $200 diagnosis fee. Then you know their coil is like 3 times as much. And then it's probably another hour of labor to replace the coil just because. So you're leaving out of there at minimum at like $700, and you're feeling good about it because you just brought an Alpina to the dealership that shakes and runs bad, and you're only out $700.
But they're gonna make you buy every single one of the coils.
Oh yeah, they're gonna make you buy all the coils. Like they'll tell you that it won't even run if you don't buy all the coils, and you get pressured into it. So then you're gonna leave a couple $1,000s lighter than you came in. Then they're gonna sell you the fuel flush, even though it's direct injected, and all sorts of nonsense. So $47.40, I'm all about it. Ooh, no faults. Read codes. No faults, baby. And we don't have anything on the cluster. Obviously no check engine light anymore, and it doesn't say reduced power or whatever it said before. Now that we have the engine running good, we're gonna do an engine flush because we haven't changed the oil yet on the Alpina. And so on cars like this that have been sitting around forever and we don't really know the maintenance history of, I like running a little bit of this AMSOIL engine flush, and you do this right before you change the oil. So we're just going to pour it on in, and this is gonna clean out any gunk. And I've had engines completely sludged up, and this will fix it. If it's really bad, sometimes you need to do 2 of these, but this can also quiet an engine down and reduce oil consumption because it attacks the carbon that gets around rings. And on modern engines, that's a big reason why they burn a little bit of oil. All right, so we only need to let the engine run for about 15 minutes before draining the oil, which is another reason why I like that flush. Some of them you have to drive it around forever, and I don't really feel comfortable with that. And also you gotta monitor your mileage and all that stuff. We let this thing run for 15 minutes. It does its thing. We get it out, we get fresh oil in, and we call it a day. So, yeah, it doesn't really look too abnormal. I'm sure it's been a long time since the last one. So this is nice. It's got the oil filter right on the bottom. That's great. Oh, sounded kind of cool. Not that I have any concerns about this engine. It sounds great. It runs great. This oil filter looks great too. If you do have bearing issues, especially on BMWs, you'll see little shiny parts inside of here, but I don't believe these engines had those issues. They had many, many other issues, but the bearings were generally okay. All right, so I got a really good quality Wix filter. I like to use these, and you can see here it says cap side. And we're gonna install a brand new O-ring, very important so you don't get any leaks, and make sure it doesn't get stuck on the last thread. Go 1 down and then wrap it around. And now we get a new washer for our drain plug, also very important. Then of course I'm filling it up with AMSOIL synthetic engine oil because I use AMSOIL fluids on all of my cars. Oh, and even if you don't use AMSOIL products, use them for their amazing and totally free website. So I typed in my 2001 Trans Am WS6. I need to order up all the fluids, and it will give you the capacity, the viscosity with temperature recommendations, and the torque spec for the drain plug. So you don't have to scour the internet looking at forums and getting bad information. It's all right here for free. You can also get air filters from them, fuel filters. These are Wix products, very, very good, and coolant with the capacity, of course. Manual transmission fluid, and for you automatic guys, they have fluid for you too, and they keep up with updates from the manufacturer on this fluid. This is all synthetic fluid. It's the best of the best. It's all that I use in every single one of my cars, differential oil, and they have many different additives as well. You saw the engine flush. This PI performance improver is awesome. You just dump that into your gas tank. If you guys need to clean out your firearms, this stuff, many people swear by this. I've tried it, it's amazing, so check that out. Metal protector, fogging oil, brake fluid, everything you can imagine you need for your car. And you guys have seen me do the AMSOIL undercoating on the Escalade. It only requires about 4 cans for a big truck like that, and then you are completely protected. I'll drop a link to that video down below because winter is coming up, and if you guys don't want your trucks or your cars to rust out, That stuff works so well. It is so DIY. It comes in a can. It's very affordable. Oh, and speaking of affordable, look at the cost of a complete oil change kit. This is synthetic oil using a very good quality Wix oil filter. Retail price $72. But if you become a preferred customer, you're gonna save almost 18, and I'm gonna drop a link down below. You can sign up to become one of my preferred customers and save 25% on all AMSOIL products. So I'm not sponsored by AMSOIL at all. I buy all my own stuff, and I've been offered free oil by all the big names, but I did my research a few years ago, and I'll leave some links and some videos down below. But AMSOIL always comes out ahead in third-party testing. So this is what I've been sticking in all my cars for the last 3 years, and I love it. So I do get a small commission from all of the sales, and that just helps pay for some of the overhead of running this production, insurance on all the cars and whatnot. So know when you're ordering AMSOIL that you're helping out the channel and you're getting the best oil on the market for a very good price. As a preferred customer and saving 25%, you're basically gonna pay what you would pay walking into a store and buying regular synthetic oil anyway, and this gets shipped right to your house. So anyway, link down below. Let's get some oil in here. And Peter, what do you say we go find out if this thing still has all 500 of its horsepower?
Yes, yes, please.
All right, let's do it. Right after we go for a very leisurely ride, we might have to get this one tire replaced. It is not looking good at all. All right, we're gonna get some fuel in the Alpina. We looked up the low fuel level misfire deal. Totally normal. If you simply have a misfire, any cylinder misfiring and low fuel, it'll pop up that code. So that's why it's not coming back now, because we don't have a misfire, so it doesn't bother to tell us that we have low fuel. I guess we should know that already. It's kind of a weird code, but it doesn't mean anything. So we're gonna put some fuel in this thing just because it is low and go take it for a blast, and I think it's gonna have all of its power back. This is a beautiful sight here, people. We just have the tire pressure monitoring warning, and that's it. Very weird for a BMW not to have any real warning lights on. Oh, that's definitely fixed. This thing is a rocket. I mean, the top end is insane. Basically, it never stops pulling with these turbos, and it's just whisper quiet. It's kind of cool. That's the difference between an Alpina and like an M car. Obviously, this is kind of an aftermarket deal, but it was done to these big body luxury versions, and it wasn't meant to be anything loud and crazy. I mean, the car is still pretty floaty. It handles okay, but this is a luxury fast car. Woo! Feels so good. It's definitely got its power. Oh, these shifts are spot on. Great transmission. They did a phenomenal job with that. So we gave that tire a good send off, and I found a good used tire with the same day codes as all the other ones. No dry rot, decent amount of tread. These are really, really expensive Michelins. But I found this for $200. This is a budget type of restoration after all. So we had the local tire place pop that on, and now we're good. Now whoever the next owner is can do burnouts to their heart's content. Well, at least until this wears out and blows up on someone. All right, so next up, we have to replace this rear sunshade. It broke, and you know, the glass broke too. Someone bashed it out. That was part of the whole vandalism deal. So these little aluminum legs broke off as well, and we picked up a used one. How much was this thing, Peter?
I think that was one of the things we paid for.
Yeah, it was like
40 bucks.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then they gave us a bunch of free stuff off of a parts car that we found locally. So not bad. This is probably a few $100s used elsewhere and probably $1,000 new at the dealer. But a pretty easy part to replace with the glass off. So it looks like we have a 10 here and another 10 on each side. All right, let's just get this out of the way. We're getting a new one anyway. Oh yeah, that's nice. You think you got all the glass, you never do. All right, so we just gotta pull this guy up. Oh yeah, beautiful. Look at that. Okay, there's our old one. All right, so we just gotta swap this little piece of harness over, like so. And then this guy clips in like that. Going in with our new used unit. And we do not want to forget to plug this in. That would be a bad day. There we go. Better. All right, so this rear suede deck liner has turned purple from the sun. So, of course, we're going to use some Clyde's leather reconditioning balm on this as well. And what's nice is this isn't going to change the texture. Not that literally anyone is ever going to be able to feel this because the glass will be hovering right over it. We just want it to look nice. So they go with suede on the Alpina. From the factory, it's just cloth. And it's a nice touch, I gotta say, I give it to them, but putting the money into this, it's kind of pointless. Putting a suede deck lid in here, literally the glass is right here. No one would ever know, but good job, Alpina. All right, guys, so here we are before the glass goes in. We have re-dyed the suede. We also took care of this area as well. It was getting a little bit too purpley for my liking, and now we have a functioning sunshade. Actually, we should probably test it really quick.
Yeah, baby.
Yes. Oh, we don't even need glass. Never mind, guys. This is a really cool process. He's laying down a thick bead of urethane. As you can see, it's standing up like a wall. And that's so we get the proper seal here and we don't get water in the trunk. We don't want water in the trunk again. And then we're starting all over here. Oh, this is great. This Alpina has been without a back glass, I think, for a couple of years at this point. So a lot of people mention body lines with cars where panels don't line up, but there's definitely a specific glass line as well. So you can pretty much just move this into whatever position you want. So that's something the technicians have to get right. But this line here looks perfect. So this is an aftermarket glass. It was, I think, about $450 installed out the door. But just the glass alone at the dealer could be around $1,500, $2,000 with installation. It's crazy, and it's just a piece of glass. Just like regular car parts, there's a chance that this glass is made for BMW as well, and then BMW puts their little logo on there and charges you a ton more. But I've never had an issue with aftermarket glass. That's the route I always go. All right, so we're gonna be all over the place fixing things everywhere on this Alpina, and I wanna fix these vents. This thing has ice cold air conditioning, and the interior is actually in really good condition. It's dirty, but it has this, and it doesn't match the niceness of this interior. We went to the junkyard and found this for 50 bucks. It's got really good vents. We don't need the wood grain around it, especially because ours says Alpina right there. And I think this just pulls out. That is very not BMW-like to just have something with clips pull out like this. Typically, there would be a lot of screws to remove this panel. Very strange. I'll definitely take it, that's for sure. This could have been something that took us hours to do. But man, we are getting lucky. I gotta say, we're getting very lucky here. Ignition coil, $47.40. This vent piece, 50 bucks used.
I think we actually got it for free because with the control units, he threw it in for free.
Oh, did we get this one for free? Okay, yeah, this was free because we bought a bunch of control units from the same guy for like 150 bucks, which was dirt cheap. He threw this in for free. Well, not this one, you know, the new one.
That one.
So we just have a few T15s around the perimeter here to swap over this entire vent system. So very easy repair as well. And I gotta say, they don't hold this entire panel in with any screws. They hold these vents on for dear life. It's like 10 screws. All right, there we go. These are pretty nasty though. Let's definitely clean these before we put them on. Little tough stuff in there, and a brush. Make this guy look brand spanking new. We're going from this guy to this. Look at how nice and pretty and clean this is. So now we'll just snap it back in to our Alpina specific trim. This is in the clear. This is underneath the clear. So this isn't even a sticker. You can't even fake it. You know you got a fake Alpina if this is a sticker. All right, time to install all 10 screws. This is gonna get dirty when I put it back in anyway, but I just wanna see it nice and pretty. Look at how beat up their start button is compared to ours. Ew. Although it's starting to come up. You know, for being such expensive, high quality cars, some of the materials inside are just horrible. All right, so with our beautiful piece, install in reverse order. This is very, very easy to do. Well, actually, no, there we go. And no screws. I cannot believe this. A couple love taps. Are we in? We have working vents, yes. Oh yeah, everything works great. All right, that is looking much better, but stuff like this is not. This interior is quite dirty, as you can see, but overall it's in great condition. So look at these seats. I mean, look at this driver's side bolster. The leather on this car and really just everything is in excellent condition. Look at the leather dash. Nothing is peeling up. So we're gonna give this thing a clean and make it look brand new, like right now. We have a few more panels to install after they replace the glass, but this guy's gonna look great. Look at the headliner. Full suede headliner in near perfect condition. The backs of the seats, excellent. Just needs some love, some cleaning. All right, we got glass in the back seat area here. We need to vacuum up. Look at what a quick vacuum does on the driver's side floor. You can tell this thing is in good shape. The pads aren't worn out. There's no holes right here where someone's foot was sitting without a floor mat for years and years. It doesn't smell in this interior. It's just gonna be so satisfying doing stuff like this. Oh yeah. Oh, this thing is gonna be sweet. I know these cars aren't the most reliable in the world, but man, are their interiors nice. Look at this leather, and this is what it looked like when we got it. But nothing is gouged, nothing is cut or torn or anything. It's just simply dirty. See this nice piano black trim? Now you do. Clean up the little Alpina logo there. All right, so it looks like something's going on here with the spring. I can't easily open this. Oh, hang on. Okay. What is that? What in the world is going on here? I have no idea what these are. Is this something like braid your hair? What? Okay, this is something that's going in the glove box. It's going in the next owner. Just a little bit of LegitStreetCars. I don't know what these are, but it goes along with the story of the Alpina. So it's going in the glove box. Comment down below, what in the world, what are these?
I think you should keep one just for a souvenir.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna pick the one I like the most. This guy with a little bit of pink woven in. It's going in my pocket. There, the rest are for the next owner. All right, so we're gonna clean up all of this trim here. As you can see, it's pretty dirty. I'm just gonna start off with a wipe. And honestly, that'll probably do like 75% of it. I love doing these detail transformations. We already did the exterior. If you guys missed the scratch repair video, that was a blast. This thing was quoted for needing an entire new paint job, which was part of the reason why it was totaled up by the insurance company. And we fixed up all the scratches for, I think, about a total of $100 or so. And it looks amazing. By cleaning up a neglected interior, it's almost just as fun, especially when it's not actually damaged. All right, so with about a 30-second wipe, this is what we have. Now let's do some fine details. And this is a very soft bristled interior brush, so it's not going to do any damage here. But we're just getting in all these little nooks and crannies right now.
What is a cranny?
Yeah, I don't know. The nooks and crannies. Have we discussed this yet, Peter?
I know what a nook is.
What's a nook?
Like a reading nook, or like a that's like a little space.
A little space, right? Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know what a cranny is.
Cranny, like maybe a smaller space. Our goal here is to not only fix cars, but to decipher old phrases and sayings. Nook and cranny, where does it come from? I don't know, but we're cleaning them. I know that for sure. All right, with everything cleaned up, I'm going to apply a little ceramic coating to some of this trim, and this works really well. at restoring and protecting even interiors. And this little brush helps out, you know, again, with nooks and crannies. Mostly the crannies, though. I don't know. It's not that good at the nooks. It's just really good at crannies. This is a very dark black trim, so as you can imagine, it's prone to scratches, and this is going to help with that a lot. So you guys have seen me restore faded exterior trim plastic with this ceramic coating. It works so well for doing that. There's really no reason to buy a separate product, and you can get an entire bottle for only $45 if you click on my link below and use my coupon code LEGIT25. So not only can you restore trim, but the main focus of ceramic coating is to add a protective layer to any exterior surface, and the coating is good for a couple of years, not months like wax. So definitely check out the link down below. You won't be disappointed. Just like on the exterior, after about 60 seconds, you're just gonna wipe off any of the excess coating, and you are done. A couple years worth of interior protection now on the most used part of this interior, this area here. So let me show you guys what this looks like though. It's so good. And after the ceramic coating, this is what it looks like. Absolutely beautiful and protected. So cool. And we'll have some more ceramic coating goodness in this as well. After I clean sections of the car, I'm just gonna go right into coating them like that. Oh yeah. Look at this glove box now. All right, I'm almost done with this interior, but we have to restore the red button here on the seatbelt. And the ceramic coating does a great job of that. So some of you guys had mentioned you can use a heat gun to heat this up. And you can. You got to get it really hot though. And sometimes it can bubble and stuff like that. Anyway, that's much easier. All right, guys, I just finished the interior. I'll show you this outside again once we have some natural sunlight, but it is looking absolutely beautiful. We cleaned up the carpets. We conditioned the leather seats, protected some plastics and trim with the ceramic coating, and it is just a beautiful place to be now. All right, with the interior all cleaned up, it's time to install a few trim pieces that we got from a local part out, and we bought some control units for the control unit video, and he threw in a bunch of free stuff. So we got this guy for free. And it just snaps right in. Easy enough. And then the part out car didn't have this piece, but we found it on eBay for 45 bucks. And it just snaps in, I believe. Yeah, just like that. Cool. Last piece of the puzzle for the exterior is getting a new Alpina badge on one of the wheel covers. The other ones have it. This one was missing. So oddly enough, we had to get this shipped from England from an Alpina distributor, and it was only $25. Like I was expecting them to say it was, you know, $200. That would have been more normal, but I'll take it. Take what we can get. And look at this weird method of mounting. Like a spring in here and some nuts and washers, and then you replace the whole thing. Everything is complicated on this car, people. Made in Germany, a real Alpina part. All right, so then we just do one of these. Go back with our spring, our washer, and our lock nut. So check this out. When this is on the car, you push on the P, and then you twist, and it gives you the lock. So you can remove this to get to your lugs or your valve stem. All right, then we just slide this cap on like so. And they do have a separate lock and key. It's quite fancy and complicated, of course. There we go. And to replace all of these was like $500 or $600. So we just got the one new cap and called it a day. All right, with that, we got to wash this thing. It's very dirty. All right, you guys have seen me wash a car a million times, so here she is, our completed 2011 Alpina B7. And this car has come a very long way since the day we got it off of the trailer. It had the back glass bashed out. Now we have beautiful glass. We have our black suede deck lid, which looks amazing. It was purple before, and we can't have that. Let's see, this car was missing the rear bumper piece. We were able to snap that in, but it was a vandalism car. It was keyed pretty bad, and we went around and fixed them all for under $100. So it may not be 100% perfect, but the alternative was probably like a $7,000 to $9,000 paint job. If you want anything near factory paint on a big BMW like this, that is what it's gonna cost you at a professional paint shop. And you really, I mean, it's been so many months, I can't even really tell where all the scratches were. Here, there was a big gouge on the hood, and it was pretty deep, and this is what it looks like today. So we're only a couple feet away from the car, and you can't even see it. So I think we did a pretty good job with the scratches. And remember what was in the trunk. So before, the trunk didn't even open with the trunk opening button, and that was because water had entered the trunk because of the bashed out glass, and it had ruined a few of the control modules, I think like 10 of them to be exact, but we were able to fix them all and replace a couple for about $150 getting used parts and taking apart the control units and cleaning them. And that was after getting an estimate from the dealership for $15,000 to replace them. So we went from $15,000 down to $150 DIY, and now we have a nice trunk with no water in this little cubby hole. Not really sure what you're supposed to store in there, but it's kind of neat. So now the trunk works perfectly, and we got rid of about 1 million lights on the dash. So here we are today. We just have a TPC light flashing at us. It very well could need a sensor, but no big deal. And there are no other lights, which is actually just a little creepy, to be honest with you. Anytime you see a 7 series of this vintage with 102,000 miles and no lights, it's almost not right. Like, it just doesn't feel natural at all. Look at this cluster. What is going on? And this engine runs so good. It revs effortlessly. No stumble, no nothing, runs awesome. So yeah, when we got this thing, it was barely running. I think it was running on maybe 4 cylinders. So misfiring all over the place. We had bad fuel in that video. And then obviously in this video, we had the bad coil. So that is all fixed. We did our engine flush. This thing sounds amazing. And I cleaned it up a bit under the hood, and now it looks the part as well. Now, I may have contributed slightly to the fact that this thing needed a new tire in the rear, but the reality was that tire was shot anyway. So we have our good used tire installed on the Alpina. So now all of them are in excellent shape. All the date codes match. These are the super ridiculously expensive Michelin Pilot Super Sports, and they are 285/30/21. All right, let me take you inside our Alpina now, all cleaned up and ready to be driven. And this does have a rear infotainment system that did not work originally, but after we repaired all the control units, that popped back up, so that functions. All the climate control functions. This thing has ice cold air conditioning. Look at that, that screen didn't light up before either. And just take a look at this interior. It's absolutely beautiful. The door panels are wrapped in leather. Everything is either leather or suede like the headliner, and it's in perfect condition. And these back seats, I don't think they've been used very much. They're in really nice condition as well. All of this stuff isn't chewed up. I do think that for the majority of this car's life, it was well taken care of. And then obviously the last owner, something happened, who knows what, but it was vandalized, it was repossessed, and I think it had a rough life there. But it was a nice enough car for long enough to be in this kind of condition. The steering wheel has a little bit of wear, but if we go over to the driver's side seat bolster, this is where a lot of the story is told. These Euro cars, these BMWs and Mercedes hold up pretty well here, but this is just excellent. And there are no rips. We still have the Alpina badge there. The carpet, everything is in really good shape. The center console is nice. All the buttons are there. Some of them suffer from this, where they start to peel off, which you'd expect in like a super cheap 90s GM product. But for some reason, European cars suffer from that as well. And they have issues sometimes with sticky buttons or sticky surfaces. Like in here, it's still a little tacky. I've tried cleaning that up, but kind of the downfall of some of these interiors. But other than that, just a beautiful, beautiful place to be. The sunroof works. It's super comfortable, and it's just a Autobahn cruiser. It's too bad here we just have, you know, the Chicago highway to drive this on. It's a shame, really. What else? There's so many things we did to this car. These mirror caps were faded. The clear coat had failed, so I had these painted over at O'Hare Auto Body in Bensonville, Illinois, and they matched the paint perfectly. And I think the only difference between the regular 750 Li and the Alpina is that Alpina sticks on this little lower bumper piece here. And you can see it says Alpina, so that was a little beat up, so we had that painted as well. But overall, for 102,000 miles, this thing looks great. The color combination is perfect. The back end of this car just looks absolutely menacing. And by the time you're watching this video, the car is either live on modsandmiles.com. I'll leave the link down below so you can place your bid. It's a no reserve auction, so whatever it sells for is what it sells for. The highest bidder will win. Or if you're watching this after 7 days from its release date, the car is sold and you can go to the past auction history on modsandmiles.com and see what it sold for. So either way, I'm sad to see the Alpina go, but it is not my car. It's actually owned by Sam Crack, and I just did all the work on it. If you guys don't know the story, I'll link the first video down below. It kind of explains it all. But basically, he bought it at an auction in Michigan, and it was easier to bring to Chicago than Florida, so I ended up just fixing it here at LegitStreetCars. But anyway, bid on the car, but also keep in mind, this is a 2011 750 Li. It will absolutely break again. Everything is good right now. It drives beautifully, but I've gotten emails throughout this Alpina series where people have said, hey, I'm looking for a good daily driver. Some people have said, hey, I'm looking for a good first car, because I mentioned I think this will go somewhere in like the mid-20s or something like that, so it's kind of affordable. And they're like, do you think you'd sell me the Alpina? And I'm like, this is not a good first car. It's not even a good real daily driver where you need it to be reliable to go to work for like 12, 15,000 miles a year. It's not that kind of car, guys. This is a very special car. It's a very fast car. It's an enthusiast car, and it's an older BMW, so they aren't the most reliable. Even after everything we fixed on it, it will absolutely break again. So keep that in mind when you're bidding. That is not the best advertisement for a car I'm trying to sell, but I'm just being truthful. So with that, I hope you really enjoyed this Alpina series. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. I'll leave the playlist linked down below. Share this video, subscribe if for some crazy reason you haven't already, and most importantly, have an awesome day. I'll catch all of you in the next video.